Well, what's up, everybody? It's Lynette Jackson, and you are watching the Speak Out Loud podcast. I hope you are all doing well on this, I don't know, very interesting for us here in Atlanta, warm Atlanta day here in the A. Yeah, I think we're going up to 80 this week, which is so weird, but I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you are warm in your area or your neck of the woods or wherever you are watching and viewing. I'm so excited to come back with you with another amazing, amazing podcast. Now, I always tell you guys there's no crying in TV. There's no crying, but I could cry today because this is very special for me today. I'm kind of actually going to go through a little therapy with my guest today, and so I am super excited to share something that's really special happening. I think my cord's going a little crazy there. I also want to just give a quick disclaimer. I do this podcast from my home, and I live right behind one of the largest Christian high schools, really huge Christian high school. And my office window sits right near the field. So obviously tonight there's a lacrosse game. And so you could hear number 44, number 17. You could hear music tonight. I hope we don't get that interruption, but I suffer during football season. So I'm glad football season is over. And when I heard music from the PA system, I said, it's not football. These guys lost. They didn't go to no playoffs because I follow them. But it's like, wait, oh my God, it's lacrosse. So I hope you don't hear any of that bleeding into the show tonight, because what we want to talk to you today about is super, 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 super important, and is something very special and dear to my heart. Today's show is called Help. I am a caregiver and I need help. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's speak out loud. Let's go.
You're watching Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand.
About that. See how modest she is, y'all? But let's go. So roasted crickets, I'm like, not eating that.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Every day showing up, even when you don't feel like it.
And now your host, Lynette Jackson.
That's right. I am your host, and I am super excited to be here with you. There's PA. It's going off for another Speak Out Loud podcast tonight. For those that know me, hey, you know me. But if you don't, I am Lynette Jackson, and I'm the owner of Roar Media Group. Roar is a digital marketing company that helps its clients speak out loud in the marketplace. So I want to let you know that this podcast is being powered and sponsored by Roar Media Group. We have a little bit of something to show you all about Roar.
Roar Media Group is a full-service digital marketing, branding, and web development agency. Our mission is to help our clients speak out loud in the marketplace and grow their businesses by leveraging the power of digital media. We specialize in creating customized strategies that are tailored to meet each customer's unique needs and objectives. At Roar Media Group, we utilize cutting-edge technologies and proven strategies to create innovative digital marketing, branding, and web development solutions. Our team of experts is dedicated to helping our customers reach their goals by providing strategic advice and support. Contact us today at roarmediagroup.com and schedule your free consultation.
That's right. You can schedule a free consultation. That is FREE, yep, free.com, confrontation. Just log on to our website, roarmediagroup.com. So let's talk about caregiving. Okay, so last week, I confirmed with my guest about this week because I kind of felt this need, and I guess you could say it was hindsight knowing. I don't understand. She could probably explain it to you, but I confirmed with her about coming on because I kind of felt this need to talk about this very important subject of caregiving. And I texted her from the from Northside Hospital here in the ICU, saying to her, I cannot believe after confirming that you would be on the show next week, 24 hours after we talked, that I am literally in ICU and I'm with a family member, and it's not looking super great right now. And if they make it through this, they pretty much are going to have to be giving care almost around the clock and very close to around the clock. And I just reached out to her because I knew she would understand. And so God doesn't make any mistakes. And so I guess he knew that I would be in that position, and he had me to have my friend, my beautiful, beautiful sister, Miss Roz Jones from Jacksonville's Best Caregivers, on for the show tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce to some and present to others Miss Roz Jones. So I think she just popped out. Let's see. Roz, are you there? I think her internet maybe popped out. Let's see. Uh-oh, she popped out. Well, we'll give her that intro. Oh, there she is. She's coming back. There she is. It's like I just gave my girl this huge, great introduction, and then she popped out. But this is live TV. This is live podcasting, right?
That's it.
Hello, my
That's it. Yes,
sister.
ma'am.
How are you? How
I'm
you doing?
well. I'm
You well?
well, and so excited to be with you again after a year.
Right. And
But
Roz,
we've talked in between. Excuse me.
yes,
So I'm
it's been
I'm
good.
excited to talk about caregiving. I'm excited um, to bring awareness,
Yeah.
particularly after Friday was National Caregivers Day. So, what not a better time to still
Yeah.
every day is a good day to talk about caregiving, but
Yes.
um,
Yes.
to
Yes.
bring more awareness is always a great opportunity for me. Thank
Yes.
you.
No, I thank you because I remember, well, first of all, I met Roz, gosh, almost probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. We were on Clubhouse. We hung out in this club together. And then I had the awesome opportunity to meet her. And I'll never forget catching you around 6 o'clock in the morning. We were at a podcast festival together. And I was like, that's Roz. I had never seen you, but when I saw you, I knew. I'm like, that's Roz. Hey, Roz. And so we had a really wonderful time in Orlando, having an opportunity to share both our love for podcasting together. And but yes, I had you on last year, when I was beta testing to see whether or not, if I'm going to
Mhm.
do this, what this was like, and I was testing the software. So you have not officially been on the show since we have done all the bells and the whistles and all of the videos and all the crazy stuff. So I'm super excited to officially have you on the Speak Out Loud podcast, and welcome.
Thank you.
So, Roz, listen, I always start off asking all of my guests to give us what we call the four clarity questions. And I can almost quote your four clarity questions, but Roz, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and who do you have the pleasure to do it for?
I'm so glad you asked, darling. My name is Roz Jones. I am the CEO and owner of Jacksonville's Best Caregivers, where we help expand the life of your loved one. Why do I do it? I do it to help the caregiver to reduce that SOS on their journey, which is being stressed, overwhelmed, and providing safety and security. When you can't do it all, you give us a call.
Yes. Now, I could have said it. I could have said it because I heard you speak it so long and so many times, but I think it's just awesome that you do what you do. And so you said the SOS, stressed, overwhelmed, and say the other one, stressed, over.
Providing safety and security.
So
Safety and
safety
security.
and
And
security.
and security. And that's one of the biggest things when you're a caregiver is that you want your loved one to be safe in their home,
Mhm.
and you want them to have a feeling of, that nothing is going to happen to me while I'm here.
Mhm.
And so that's why a lot of times, as we're taking care of our loved ones, they want to age, as the new term is, age in place. They want to be at their house.
Yes.
They don't, because now they have the option of either staying at home or going to a nursing home, and they
Mhm.
prefer to stay in their home as long as possible.
Absolutely. 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 So, as you know, I had talked with you when I first met you. I talked with you about some of the things that I wrote in my book, Hollow, which I actually gave care to my mom. And she did hospice in my home and passed away. And I was also a caregiver for a mentally ill sister who was institutionalized in a nursing home for the mentally ill, but I was still power of attorney and caregiver for her and things like that. Two different kinds of caregiving. Two different kinds of
Hmm.
caregiving. One was very hands on with mom, like every day,
Hmm.
making sure she had the medication, when she would be sick, throwing up, cleaning up, feeding her, just those things.
Right.
The other one, caregiving from afar, which is power of attorney, making sure that, her bills are paid and things are needed. And that is a different type of caregiving, but it is still caregiving. And so I felt it was so special. I have met and
Well, yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, no, no.
Oh,
I was going to say, I wanted to chime in on the part about whether you're caring for a person in person or long distance,
hmm
or whether they go into a nursing home.
hmm
Care is care,
that's good.
whether it's direct care or indirect care.
Okay.
Whether you're sending money for food, sending money for a caregiver,
hmm
uh, handling bills, handling their medicine, whatever little bits you do, you are still technically designated as a caregiver.
That's good. That's
And
true
and I just
because,
wanted to put that out there.
yeah, I sent her care packages and would go like to my family and say, hey, listen, I'm sending out a big box. So everybody send in your little things that you want, because I'm sending this big box out to her and to my sister. And then when it came time for her to have a knee replacement, I had to sign papers and do all that stuff to make sure that I gave consent for her to have this knee replacement. And she actually died after she had the knee replacement, and I had to remove her from life support. So that was really, really super,
Hmm.
super tough. But it was still it was like a different level of care, but still, like you said, care. And so I think that's very good because I think we think sometimes that if we are in the trenches, then that's we're giving care. But I'm glad you brought you clarified that because care is care. hmm Care is care. And I am so I'm kind of now in the trenches now. So when I text you last week and said, oh my God, 24 hours after I confirmed that you would be on the show this week, I am now sitting in ICU, and I was there with my brother, who is very, very, very sick, very sick. And as a matter of fact, we were just a little bit like concerned as to, okay, will he ever come home? Well, I'm happy to say that I brought him home yesterday, and he's doing better, but he has a long, long, long way to go. Now the work for me really picks up again, like really, really picks up because he has a long list of doctor's appointments and medication and, having to get to therapy and having to do these things. And he cannot drive and he's on a walker now. And so today he just said he was very, very, I'm very weak today. I'm just very weak. I'm very tired. He doesn't feel like eating much. So it's that situation, which kind of reminds me of a lot of what my mom was going through when I was caregiving with her. um,
Hmm.
you know what she was going through. But I want to just simply say that, and I have the expert here, to help us. And I'm really excited that she's here because she can help me. Roz, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. So I was there every day. I'm meeting with different doctors. I'm meeting with, various folks, therapy people, just every single day, understanding what medications he's on and just all of this stuff every single day, long hours at the hospital. And for 1 week, my life was put on hold for a week. And I am exhausted. I'm really, really exhausted. So, Roz, help me, help everybody else out there who could be going through what I'm going through now. Help us with what we can do so I don't fall too far into the trenches, that I can make sure that I'm doing all the things necessary to give care to myself as I'm giving care to him.
You have to make a decision when a person's diagnosis, whatever disease they're diagnosed with. You have to say, okay, how much can I do and how much can I do? And when it gets to the point to where there's a lot of doctor's appointments, there's a lot of medication, you can't keep up if he's eating or not, you can't keep up with what's going on with him during the day, there may come a time where you have to say, we have to put you in a place, and there may come that time, it may not be now, may come a time when you say, I can't keep up with you, darling, and I love you enough to where we got to make a decision. Okay, you're not eating, you're dehydrated, you're going back and forth to the hospital, then we need someone to monitor you. A nurse who can make sure you take your medicine at the same time every day. Someone to make sure that you eat 3 times a day, because you're not doing this at home. And this is where your burnout is coming, because you're worried about him.
Yeah.
And you're going over there, okay, are you taking your medicine? Phone call. Did you eat? You got to eat before you take these pills.
Yes.
Okay, you got a doctor's appointment. Did you get the transportation? Because there is transportation out there for them to get back and forth to the doctor. Okay. All these phone calls and all this stuff that you're doing, when do you take care of you? This is where the burnout is coming. Part of it is that, okay, he's my brother. I got to take care of him. No, you don't. I'm not. Everybody's like, oh, she's all right. But you don't.
No.
You don't.
I choose to. I don't have to.
It's a choice. And so if you choose to do that, you have to understand, you have to set boundaries. I talk about this all the time.
That's good, Roz.
Yeah, you have to say, okay, I'm podcasting on Wednesdays. So all day Wednesday, you on your own. Thursday, I'm going to get my hair done. You on your own. So either we got to get a caregiver in to accommodate for those hours, and he may qualify for caregiving because of the illness that he has, because of the weakness, because he can't maintain his medicine, because he can't maintain his bills, because he can't go grocery shopping. So he may be eligible for Meals on Wheels. He may be eligible for someone to come in 3 times a week to bathe him and to check on his medicine. These are the things that you have to look at to see if he's eligible for.
Okay.
Because if he's too tired to take his medicine, too tired to bathe, too tired to pick up the phone, that's a sign that you may need to put this person in a facility, because coming to live with you may not be the answer.
Correct.
And both of you all may, and you may not be in a physical place to take care of someone with this much medical and physical need.
Right. Yeah, and it's a tough situation because we love our loved ones and we want to make them feel comfortable. We want to give them the best quality of life that we can and support that. But there are some tough decisions that you have to make because it affects every area. So I'm traveling this week. I'm traveling to 3 cities this week. Okay. I'm like, ooh, what kind of schedule is that? But I am traveling to Philadelphia, Baltimore and Delaware this week, all in the same little tri area there. But I still have to do that. As far I work from home, so having a person live with me would not be conducive because I'm working from home and they don't understand I'm on a Zoom call, or they might want to watch television, or they might, they're walking in the kitchen or walking by you when you're trying to conduct a meeting, or I'm podcasting on Tuesdays. And so you can't, you have to be quiet, or you have to go to your room. And so living with me is not an option. And this may be for someone else as well. So maybe at that time, when I allowed my mom to live with me, and I was giving caregiving to her, I was in a different position and a different job. I worked at corporate America, and it was okay. It's not like that, and I couldn't. I remember one time, Ross. This was so amazing. I remember coming home from work and walking in the door, and the house smelled like gas. And my mom and my son, at that time, he was like 13, 14. They were asleep. And what had happened was my mom had cooked that day and got her some soup or something for lunch, and she cooked, and the pot fell over, and boiled over, and it put the pilot out. I think I'm losing Roz and her Roz, but I think we're losing you. But I'll keep going. The pot rolled over and it put out the fire on the stove. And she thought because the fire was out that, we lost her. This is live. But my mom thought, okay, here she comes back. There she goes. You popped out. You're back now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So as I was saying is my mom thought she turned the stove off, but actually the pot boiled over and it put the flame out. And so the gas was just going and just going and going. And then I knew then that I couldn't leave her at home by herself. And even though my son came home from school at 3:00 and he had chores that he did with her, made sure she ate and she was good, it just was not enough. And so I found myself having to go now to work and do short-term disability so that I could come home and care for her because she was in hospice. And so and there were so many things that were affected. So it wasn't just my living space that was affected. And my mom was my best friend. So, this is no shade or anything, but it wasn't just my living arrangements was affected, but my finances were affected. Because I had to supplement her income every week. And I'm looking at everything that my brother is going through now. And I'm saying to myself, do I have the money to supplement all this medication that he has to do right now? Do I have the money to for gas? Now it's more. It's like I don't drive. I'm sitting at home because I work at home, but now I'm having to drive 2 to 3 days a week to get him to the doctors and to the appointments. And will I be able to help him cover medication? And will he need depends? And Roz, what could we do as caregivers or a person who is possibly getting ready to go into this caregiving position? How do we get our houses in order?
You have to get it in order before the situation happens. And in our community, I can't speak for other communities. Well, I kind of sort of can. Mm-hmm. Some people get it done and some people don't. Okay. And I've worked in Jewish homes, mm-hmm. Black homes, white homes. I've worked in the gamut of homes where they've had it ready, mm-hmm. and they haven't had it ready.
Okay.
And a lot of times people wait till something catastrophic said to happen to try to get everything done where you should have been planning. You plan for your retirement. Why don't you plan for your aging?
Yes. Yes.
Planning at the time of the heart attack, it's too late to take the nitroglycerin pill after the heart attack. Mm-hmm. You want to take it before the heart attack to make sure it doesn't happen.
Right.
So getting the long-term care insurance, getting the insurance, planning in advance is necessary. My parents, thank God for them, they bought a house a few years ago and they made it ADA compliant.
Mm-hmm.
The doors are 42 inches wide. The
Mm-hmm.
bathroom doors are wide. They made everything so when they could age in that house. And these are the things that we can do if we're going to stay in the house. Go ahead and put up the handicap bars to get into the bathroom. Get the handicap toilets that are raised up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lower the microwave down so you don't have to reach up. Put the
Mm-hmm.
microwave at a, you know, get you a pantry where the food is lower down so in case you are in a wheelchair, you have to. These are the things that you have to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that my parents put in place more than 10 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
so we don't think about that.
Correct.
You know, when someone moves in with you, your power bill is going to double.
Mm.
It's going to, it usually, for each person that moves in, it's an extra $250 per person.
Wow.
That's your power bill. That doesn't even include your food bill.
Mm-mm.
Your food bill will literally double when you add a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, transportation, gas.
Yes.
There are local entities here in your city where it will take the elderly to a doctor's appointment,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Mm-hmm.
have to register and sign up for that special transportation.
Okay.
You
Are
know,
y'all taking notes? I
and they
hope
also
y'all
have to sign
taking
up for
notes.
the
I'm
blue.
about to take notes. I'm taking notes. I need it
So,
because we got doctor's
right,
appointments to go to.
you can right. So there's local transportation services that they can qualify for because of their age and because of their illness.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Jacksonville, we have what's called Jacksonville Transit Authority. We have the little small buses that have the lift. If you're in a wheelchair, it'll lift you and put you into the van.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so they have the small vans that accommodate the elderly because it has the lift where they can lift them up if they can't
Mm-hmm.
raise their legs. These are the things you have to look into so that
Mm-hmm.
there's not money coming out of your pocket going back and forth to the doctor's appointment.
Right, right.
So they can pick them up 30 minutes before the doctor's appointment and let's say 30 minutes after the appointment. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's not a burden on the family. And
Yes.
then when you get to the doctor, have the doctor call you or do FaceTime and say, hey, so that you're still at the appointment. Or you
That's
can also do
good.
what's called telehealth,
Mm-hmm.
where you, the loved one, and the doctor are on Zoom. Telehealth was already being implemented, but COVID. So then now, if you do the telehealth, you only have to go to the doctor one time. They have to physically see you one time by Medicaid, Medicare standards. And the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the year, you can do telehealth.
Oh, that's
So that
good.
cuts out a lot of transportation. Unless it's a specialist where they may have to physically look at you for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But your primary care, you can
Mm-hmm.
do telehealth. And sometimes even your specialist can do telehealth. So these things
That's
are very
good.
important.
That is very
Yeah.
important because I'm thinking like, how am I going to, get him to this doctor and how am I going to do all the things and then continue to, you know, have meetings in my business and run my business and travel and do all the things that are needed. And so there, I know that.
Also,
Mhm. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Also, too, you can ask them, can they monitor his blood pressure through telehealth? He can stick
Mm,
his arm, or he can do, if he's a diabetic, they can monitor that
yes. Hmm.
from the house. I have a young lady, she has a pacemaker.
Okay.
They monitor it from here from the house.
Okay. From the house. Oh, that's good. I hope everybody is getting this. I hope you
Yeah.
are being blessed by this because if you're not caregiving now, eventually you will caregive. You're eventually gonna caregive. So okay, so you talked about the fact that if you have an opportunity to get prepared, you know that mama's getting up in age, daddy's getting up in age, and brother, sister, cousin, child, even if they have a special illness, is, things are winding up a little bit, right? So you have to kind of do a little bit more. I had a sister first of this year had a pacemaker put in. She's just 70, but she had a pacemaker put in. And her husband is a little bit older than what she is. So, I have another sister that's there with her that can monitor both of them, that can watch them, that can see what's going on. They live together. But it's just difficult at times to be able to monitor. Like, she was complaining about being, I'm always cold, I'm always cold, I'm always cold. And then she had her heart rate monitored. She was doing a little background acting and things, and then they realized that, did you know that your heart rate was like 37? Her resting heart rate was at 37, and then when she was taken into the hospital, they were like, "You're going to have a pacemaker because you could just go to sleep one day and just never wake up." And so, that happened. And so I'm grateful that she has someone there that can monitor what she's doing and going on and happening. But we know, like, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm 61, but I am the youngest of 7 children. So if I'm 61 and I'm the baby, there's some other folks that are a little bit older than me that's got some other issues going on. And we need to be able to watch out for each other and care for each other and be able to assist each other in areas. But so you talked about trying to do as much as you can in the beginning to prepare financially for it, for what's going on. I want to really talk about why it's important to also, and this sounds really hard because I had to be faced with this week, is to be prepared for end of life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't sure we were going to make it. Things looked really, really low. And it's just a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
The prayers of the righteous availeth much. And so it was a miracle that he came out of this, but he's still not 100%. He is very, very still weak. But, you in the moment, you can't think about all the things. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, what do we do? Where's the paperwork? Where's the passwords to the computers? What's the medical directives and, with the insurance company, will they speak to me? The doctors were asking me, well, what medications is he on? I was like, I don't know, because he's on, I know he has this, and this, and I know he takes medicine for this, and this, but I can't tell you what the volume is and the strength and the milligrams. I can't tell you all of that. And so do you know what we had to finally do? I said, but I do know this. He gets his prescriptions filled at Walgreens on Jimmy Carter. So, and the pharmacist in the ER says, no problem. I can get the records from there. And when she got the records, that's when they started to be, because they did not want to give him stuff in the ER, not knowing what he could take, what he was allergic to, what he was already taking, what was already in his system. It was just the whole thing. And so trying to be as prepared as possible, like for example, knowing the medication of your loved one, having it written down somewhere where you would know, be able to say they take this, they take this, they take this, and be able to share that with the doctor. What are some other things that we can do, Roz, to be prepared in a situation like this?
To be prepared in most situations, of course, you need to have a list of their medication, a copy of their ID, their social security card, their medical cards. Like you said, make a list of all bills, make a list of all passwords. And the biggest thing I tell people is that on that bank account, at the time of death, because I just went through this with my father, he didn't have my sister or I on the account.
Okay.
So that had to go into probate. Before that person gets to the point to where they can't make a decision, go to the bank and say, hey, if something happens to me, whether I'm sick or dead, I want my sister to be able to get to this money. What do I need to sign and put in place for this to happen so that this money doesn't go to probate?
I did that with my mom. She was like very adamant. She was like, no, I need to get you on the account. So I had a right to be in her account by law because she added me as a signee to the account.
Right.
That's good though.
Right, but each state, each bank has different rules. And you need to make sure that at the time of death, that, I said, hey, so-and-so can have this money. So even though your name is on the account, in some places, they still may not let you have the money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again. Depending
That's
on where
good.
you are and what financial institution, you need to double check and make sure at the time of death you can get the money. That money's always the big thing.
Yeah.
The next thing is funeral.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to talk about the funeral.
They don't.
My dad and I'm going back to my dad. My dad had nothing in place.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I told my sister, because my dad died in the house caught on fire and
Oh my
burned
goodness.
him and all this. So we did cremation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have nothing in place, you're going to get cremated, honey,
Yeah.
and buried,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have the money, $10,000. It doesn't make sense. You giving me no option because you didn't prepare. So you
Yes.
didn't prepare. And if I have to pay for it, it's by my rules and
Mm-hmm.
my choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It sounds hard. They're like, oh, this woman is crazy. No, honey,
No.
you didn't prepare for it.
Yes. Yes.
You put
Yes.
nothing in place. And you left my sister and I in a
Mm-hmm.
place to where now we have this big bill.
Yeah.
And, everybody's talking about let's bury him, but nobody's coming up with the money.
Yes. Yes.
So at the end of the day, Mr. Funeral Home, go ahead and cremate him,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody else has come with the money but my
Yeah.
sister and I.
Which is less expensive than having a full-blown funeral. But some
And
people.
you can prepay for it.
Yes.
Do the prepaid funeral. Go ahead and get it now. Lock in the price so that in 5 or 10 years, whatever the case may be, it's already
Mm-hmm.
paid for.
Yeah. Some
Now,
people have
I'm
this
not a
notion of
baseball.
I need this fantastic funeral, and they're not going to even know about it anyway. But you want to do the respectful thing. And look at you, I love that. You're like, you don't even know it. But I want to do the respectful thing and do what your wishes are. And if you want those things for your wishes, then plan for them. My mother planned for them. Now, one of the things that my mom did, she had policies. Lord have mercy, she had old policies, but she had policies she paid for. Unfortunately, at the time of her death, those policy payouts, they paid out no problem. However, the cost of funerals, my mother died at 86, okay, in 2005. In 2005, she died at 86, and we were 10 grand easily into this funeral for her. But the cost of funerals was just so expensive even in 2005, but she didn't have enough. One thing
Enough.
that he said to me was, hey, check and make sure I have enough. Okay, enough of my policies. And so what I did was I contacted the funeral home that she wanted to go to. And I said, listen, this is we love to do this. We love to do this. And we came up with a price and said, these are the policies that she has. And we were still short. However, we only came out of our pocket for a few little things, to make sure that we had them. But she had the majority of her stuff. And it wasn't that she didn't have insurance. She had enough insurance for the time that she purchased this insurance, that she thought maybe, hey, I may be here till I'm 75 or 60. Girl went on to be 86 years old, but times had changed. So we do need to check our policies. We need to make sure that our loved ones have enough. Do we need to add these policies because things and times are changing? And this is a very difficult subject, but things and times are changing and things are getting super expensive. And and then we want to give them this great send off. But if there's not enough insurance to do that, you have to do the very best you can, because I don't think it's important and I don't think it's fair for you to go into debt to just try to say goodbye or keep up with the Joneses, whatever, to just try to say, well, we put her away nice. Listen, we put her away with the best that we could if you don't have enough insurance to cover for what you need. And that's just real talk. That's
That
just
is real talk.
reality.
And another thing, Lynette, is as people buy insurance, the old insurance policies that your mother and my mother were and are on, would pay past 85.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these insurance companies don't pay past.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get the life insurance policy, I always ask, how long can I live?
Yeah. That's good. How long can I live with this policy? Right.
Because
Listen,
after
guys.
85, once I hit 85, do I get the money? Does the money go
Mm-hmm.
back to the insurance company? What?
Right.
uh,
This,
like,
this is a super important topic. And I live alone. I live alone. I have two sons. And I'm gonna share something. I gotta pull it out here. Oh, where did I take it? Oh, I
but
thought I
listen,
had it behind me.
but,
But it was,
but
oh
while
no,
you're
here it
reaching for, yeah,
is.
but
Mhm.
while you're reaching for that, I want to say in advance, have the conversation. Have your folder. I, you- don't get an accordion folder. Do everything electronic. The birth certificates.
Mhm.
If your father was in the military, get that DD 214. Have all
Okay.
that information. You know now.
Mhm.
Have all that information together. My mother, even though she plucks my nerves, I love her. Every year we have to update and say, okay, birth certificate, are you
Mhm.
married, what medicines are you taking, what's your bank account, where's your mortgage, where's all of this, so in case something happens
Mhm.
we can get in and do whatever we need to do.
Right, right, right. So what I was looking for was, and this could possibly save some of the trouble for some folks if they're not doing it. My
Mhm.
daughter in love, okay, because she is my daughter in love, not my daughter-in-law. She is my daughter. Said, Mom, I gave this to my mother for a gift, and I'm giving this to you. And it's the Peace of Mind Planner. And this Peace of Mind Planner is
I have that.
you
I
have it.
have that. I have
Woo!
that.
Important information about my belongings, my business affairs, and my wishes. And this thing, I don't know whether you guys can even see it, but it has tabs over here for every
Tabs. Mhm.
tabs for every little thing, your personal, your medical, key contacts, time, at the time of my passing, my dependents, important documents, and it goes on. The list goes on and on and on. And so I am at right now taking time to put things down. I'm 61. Listen, I plan on living past my mama. I plan on living until I'm 90, 95, maybe 100. I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll see what the Lord has to say about it. If I can stay
I want
strong.
I want to live past the Queen. I want to
Yeah,
live past Queen Elizabeth.
girl.
I want to go past.
Queenie did it. She did it, right? However, this my kids know now that if anything was to happen, they have a key. If I was to go, something happened to me tomorrow, they have a key. All they need to do is locate this book. This book will tell them everything, all medications that I'm on, passwords to my computer, bank accounts. And I've made sure that my sons are on my bank accounts and things like that. But everything they need to carry on for me, okay, the school is cranking up, but everything that they need to carry on for me is in this book. And she bought her mom one, and her mom loved it so much. Her mom started buying it for her friends. And so I think it's a great gift to give to your friends. So if you're looking for something to give to somebody for a birthday, say, look, no offense, I ain't trying to say you good and ready to go, but this is an amazing thing to leave behind for your children. Now, what I am about to do is I'm getting this for my brother. And she just ordered it off Amazon and she had it shipped right to my house. But I'm getting it for my
Mhm.
brother so that he can take the time to fill out things because he was saying, oh, get that, I have a list of passwords. So he gave me a 2-page sheet of passwords for everything that he has a password for. And I'm like, okay. And so now I have to go in and we have to change information, put me on his insurance, his medical insurance, so that they could give me information so that I could speak on his behalf, or I can question what's going on. I can see his medications. I can see those things. Listen, that happened when he regained consciousness after 3 days. And after he regained consciousness, I brought my computer and I sat in that hospital and I said, listen, you good? I'm going to crank you up in this bed and we got to talk. And I know, and my brother's the type of person that he didn't like to talk about those kind of things. But I said, we got to talk because we thought you was gone 3 days ago. And so
Lynette,
I didn't have
Lynette,
a
you said crank him up in the bed, Lynette. You said
crank him. I cranked him up in the bed. Get you some water. Get you some water. Because I'm gonna crank you on up. You need something. You need to drink a little water because I'm gonna need you to speak. I'm gonna need you to talk. I'm gonna crank you up.
I can't do you.
Let's talk. Because my heart was like, I don't know anything. Yeah. I don't know anything. All I have is a key to your apartment. That's it. I don't know where anything is. I don't know how to get in your computer. I just don't know anything. So it's important that we get this information. So I made him give me everything. Like right now, give me your password to your insurance. Okay, let me go in here and figure out how to add myself and add all my details. So now I have the password. I can go into Humana and I can look at the stuff because he's given me that permission to do so. But, you know, it's important that we are able to do that. So this is the Peace of Mind Planner. And this book is so important. You can get this on Amazon. And listen, these people, they not getting, this ain't a sponsorship or nothing. This is just a good tool.
It's a good book.
Because when I went through this book and saw all the things that it wrote, that I was like, oh, this is so good. And then I came back home. I'm not finished with it. I'm just starting. And I'm like, oh, no, I need to do this. And listen, do it in pencil. Don't do it in ink because you'll be scratching stuff out or you're making mistakes. Do it in something that you can, maybe if you have to make them, you know, erase something, that you can do something and, you know, take photocopies of it if you have to. But this is a super, super great tool to be able to have when you are having to deal with someone who you don't even know what their wishes are. My sister in Philadelphia just went through this with her mother-in-law. And was going through the process to become a caregiver for her mother-in-law, where she would be paid to actually care for her mother-in-law. And then her mother-in-law passed away. My sister right now, they are still trying to fight for information on the house that she lived in, you know, bank accounts. They are still fighting. And listen, they've gone into their pocket, way deep in their pocket to bury her, to give her a great service. She's gone. Miss Lillian, sweet lady, she is gone. Now my sister is there cleaning up the house and trying to make sure that they can get the place ready for if they're going to sell it. But they have to still get that legal paperwork put over. So, you know, it's just important. The Bible tells us that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. And that is super important for you to prepare yourself. As we know, we're getting older. Listen, you and I both, Roz, know we ain't going nowhere yet. But it's important that we keep our stuff up to date and keep our stuff together because we find that this is difficult. And I just didn't know. I was just so glad that he woke up. He could talk. And I crunk him up. Like, let's talk. Because you're leaving me with all this information that I don't have a clue. I don't have medication. I just don't know. So I'm ordering this for as we call him, Brother Man. I'm ordering this for Brother Man so that Brother Man can just sit down every day and have a cup of coffee and just finish putting your little stuff in and add all your little goodies in and do that. Because that is super, super important. So Roz, I really want to talk about, I wrote down a couple little things that I wanted to ask you about. Okay, how do I felt myself going in a little bit of isolation during this process. I felt like I was alone. I felt like I didn't have a lot of support. But, you know, it wasn't to the point where folks couldn't help. They couldn't physically help me. It wasn't that they couldn't mentally help me. They gave me all the emotional and mental support, but physically, my siblings are in different states and they're much older than I am. And some of them have some health issues and they couldn't come and sit with me there. I want to ask you, what could I do and what could anybody who is right now uh, dealing with the same issues, what can we do to stay out of burnout? Because by Sunday, was burned out.
You have to make the choice. Just because you decide to be a caregiver doesn't mean the first thing we normally do is we isolate. We stop all of our daily habits and put everything into this person. Yeah. Why you got to change? Who said you had to change?
That's good.
You don't have to change. They got to make their changes to accommodate your calendar. Let me say that again.
Yes.
You don't have to change for them. They got to change for your calendar. And people forget to understand that. And people also don't understand, too, that you can say no to caregiving. And I've said this before on this show.
Good. That's good.
You don't have to do this. You know, my mother raised me, and they said you got to honor her. They say you to take care of her.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a fine line, and we get that mixed up. Yes. You said read that scripture again.
I'm just saying. Read that scripture again. It says honor. Okay, honor is due where respect is due. So I'm going to respect you enough and honor you enough to let you know that I can't do this. If you do decide to do it, you can't isolate yourself. You got to get the right resources. People like Annette, people like myself that can say, hey, let's make you a calendar. Let's make you a monthly calendar to where you will still live your life. But you're going to have to tell Pookie and them, bruh man, dude man, dude sister, whoever you're taking care of, I can't be here every day.
Yeah.
I cannot. Because if I shut down, don't nothing get paid.
That's right.
If I shut down.
That's right. That's right.
So if you stop your work, how your bills going to get paid at your house? Their bills still getting paid wherever they at.
Right. Right.
But if I stop working and take care of you 24/7, where we gonna eat?
That's right.
Where we gonna live?
That's right. Wow. So
these are realistic things you have to sit down and say, you know, I only have this much time for you every week. And that's it. If it don't fit, we must have quit. That means that you're going to have to get a caregiver or you're going to go into a facility.
Yeah, no, I think that's super great. There are resources out here. You did the whole, if it doesn't fit, you have to, doesn't fit, you got to quit. I love that. But no, there's resources out here and it does take time. There are resources out there that you have to, because you may not be in this position where like about the transportation or about being able to get someone, a nurse to come into the house. But that's why it's important to, one thing that I did was I'm like, let me speak with the social workers. Let me speak with behavioral health people. I wanted to speak with everybody and anybody that I could while he was in the hospital, while they could bring these people to tell me, listen, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's available. Can you tell me what's available? I need I'm going to need some home help for nursing. He's going to need to have some therapy to come to the house.
Right.
I don't know about that stuff because I'm not in the position where I drive myself to the doctor. I go where I need to go, but he can't. And so if you're in that position or getting close to that position, ask the questions while they're in the hospital. What happens when they leave?
I just did a webinar on Saturday from hospital to home, the discharge process.
Oh, wow.
As soon as that person enters the hospital, you got to get social with the social worker. I'm getting ready to put it up for sale.
Oh, good.
But you got to get social with the social worker, the nurses, the physical therapists. The social workers usually have a list of resources. Can you give me that list?
Yes.
Which insurance companies can he through his insurance, what services can they qualify for?
Right.
This is so important. And
I
then
love
once you
that.
come out, yeah, realize if you're on Medicare under Part A, you have up to 100 days of care.
Mhm.
That includes physical therapy, home health, occupational therapy, whatever you need for, and so those 100 days also include if you got to go to rehab. And then after you go to rehab, then you come home. So, look at that. Also, too, look at these communities. If you can't take care of your loved one, it's called the 55 plus communities, to where they downsize their house, but they're around people around their age.
Yes.
So I just wanted to put those two things out there.
No, I love get social with the social worker. Now that is critical, because I had a meeting yesterday with the social worker to say, hey, listen, help me out. I don't know what I need to do next, or, how do I move here? And she was like, I'm going to send you some information, because they have all of the knowledge. So in essence, what we're trying to say to you today is that you don't have to do this by yourself. You have to, as you know, our mamas would probably have said this, a closed mouth don't get fed. And so if you're not opening your mouth to ask the questions that are needed, and simply opening your mouth to say, I don't know what to do next. I don't know where to go. I don't know. Help me. That's why this show today is help. I am a caregiver and I need care. I need help. I don't know. Is there anything, Roz, that is available for the caregivers? Is there a support group for us? Is there something that we could do? Is there support groups that we could get? Tell us about that.
AARP. Check
Okay.
with AARP. Number one, AARP will give you all the different resources within your state. Number two, the Council on Aging.
Okay.
Every state has a Council on Aging. Then you have the seniors program in each one of your municipalities or parishes, depending on what state you live in.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have the National Care. It's the Caregiver Coalition.
Okay.
These are, and I have a whole list of these resources on my website.
Okay.
Under Roz Jones Enterprises. Please go to my website. And when I tell you I have a plethora, of resources.
Listen, let's make sure we get that. I'm going to get that down here. Roz Jones Enterprises, right? And I know
Roz Jones ENT.com. Roz Jones
Okay, so this is your Facebook, and you're at Roz Jones, right?
Right.
Facebook and Instagram, but
right.
And then your what's your website? Is that Roz Jones what?
Roz Jones ENT.com.
Roz Jones
ENT.com.
ENT.com. Okay, we're going to add
ENT.com.
All right. Okay, perfect. We're going to add that. There you go.
And
RozJonesENT.com.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, get that out there, please, please, please. And listen, follow Roz on IG and Facebook. She has a great community. You're still doing your podcast as well, right? Are you doing your podcast? The Caregivers Cafe?
Yes, still doing podcast cafe. It's 1 year old in March. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the best of in March. So we're going to do the best. I think the top 10 podcasts, we're going to repost those in the month of March. So I'm looking forward to that.
On Clubhouse,
I have a blog. Blog.
You have a Clubhouse too, don't you?
My Clubhouse is called the Caregiver Cafe. Yep. The Clubhouse is called the Caregiver Cafe. The podcast is the Caregiver Cafe. The blog is the Caregiver Cafe, and Pinterest is also the Caregiver Cafe. So
Caregiver Cafe.
If you put my name Roz Jones, it'll pop up.
Yes.
It'll pop up.
Yes, because the information is so important.
Yeah.
And I think in this process here, any sort of support that, people could just talk about. Because this was good for me, AARP, the Council on Aging. I'm going to, listen, I am a member of AARP of Georgia.
Meals on Wheels.
Wheels, that's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Meals on Wheels.
because he really
Yeah.
can't stand up and cook like he
And check
used to.
with your local. Yeah. hmm
You said check with
And
the local.
AARP allows people to join now at the age of 18. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, check with your local transportation authority
Hmm.
to see what um, transportation services are eligible to seniors.
Okay.
Check with your local bus authority, transportation for transportation,
Okay.
please.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, Roz, this has really been so, I feel like I have so much more. I have more tools in my tool belt. I feel like I have, I have the energy. I can continue this process because I've gotten wisdom. Because when I wish I known you back in 2005 when I was going through this with my mom. I know. I wish I knew this, and I just did, and I did it all wrong. I did the wrong things. Like I was out of air. I couldn't breathe. I did all of
Uh-uh,
the wrong
uh-uh.
things, and I don't want to make sure that this.
You know
And
what?
now there's so many resources for us.
Right. You did what you could with the information you had.
Mhm. Yep.
You did what you could with the information you had.
Hmm.
So don't feel guilty
Okay.
about it's because you didn't have the information. That's all it was. But you did the best
I did the
with
best.
what you
And
had.
I took very good care of her. She was very happy. I was burnt out. I went through some stuff, but now what I'm trying to do is to help all of our listeners not be in the position. One of the things that I had to do was I talked to my therapist and I was like, listen, this is what I'm facing. And my therapist was like, listen, this is what you need to do. You make sure you're drinking water. You make sure you eat. You make sure you are doing the things that you need to do while you are running back and forth to the hospital. Don't forget to eat, because I was just getting up and running back to the hospital because I had meetings with doctors and meeting with social workers, and
That
I
part.
wasn't eating. And I'm like, wait, I need to eat. I need to take care of myself. I need to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. And here's the funny thing. I had to take a break. It's that part.
That part.
When I was
Let
able
me
to
tell you
crank him
something.
up in that bed, when I say you crunk up now, I got to step back and take a break. And I love you, but I can't be here every day, 12 hours.
I heard this on Clubhouse in a room that you and I have been in together.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said your body is a scorecard. It will
Mm.
tell you if you're winning or losing.
Mm. Now that's good. That's good. It will tell you. Hmm.
If you're winning or losing.
I had to tell him, I love you. You're in the best hands here. The Northside system is very good.
That's right.
You were unconscious for 3 days. I was there because I wanted to make sure I knew what was happening. But now you can even pick up the phone and call me or text me and talk to me and let me know what's going on. That's fine. But after on Saturday afternoon, I said, listen, I will not be here on Sunday. I need a day. Okay. I'm not going to be here on Sunday. Don't look for me. I didn't even talk to him. I didn't call him and text him or whatever. I'm like, because you're in the best position. If something was to happen, they would call me. But I had to clear my head,
And reset. Your
and
body had to reset.
reset my body. And listen, I was still working on his behalf because I was visiting assisted living homes on Sundays. I was taking tours. However, I was just exhausted, but I just needed to not smell the hospital anymore. I didn't need to wear the mask on my face. Like it was a lot. So I said, listen, I will be back on Monday morning when we have the next meeting with the doctor and next meeting with the social worker. I'll be there in time for that. And then I left and went home and did some work. And then said, they said there's a possibility we're going to release him today. I'm like, well, if y'all make that decision, y'all call me. And it's like, it's nothing that doesn't mean that I don't love you, but I don't have to sit in the room with you and watch you watch TV or watch you sleep. So I'm going to go and get some work done, and I'm going to go get some sleep. I'm going to go get some rest because listen, I found myself being very cranky and very tired. And if I'm like, so that goes back to put the mask on yourself, because if I don't have the mask on me, I can't give life to you. I can't even articulate. I can't even talk to the doctors. I can't do anything. And I'm cranky and I'm picky and I'm pokey. It doesn't work for me. I need to be a happy caregiver. So, Roz, thank you so much for just coming on today and just helping us to learn a
Thank
little
you,
bit about
darling.
caregiving. So, before we leave, could you just give us just something from your heart that would just help somebody today know that they're not alone?
When you become a caregiver, you don't have to isolate. You never have to isolate. And if you're isolating, you're not giving care.
Mm, that's
Please don't
good.
isolate yourself.
Ask for some help if you need help.
Yeah.
That's good, Roz. That's why I love you.
Ask for help.
That's why I love you.
I love you
Because
more.
you
And you
keep
look
it.
real good. I want to
Thank
know
you.
what you're doing. You got to give me your secret.
I done lost 45 pounds. That's what I done did, Roz. Listen, trying to give myself some good
Well,
care.
I need to do what you're doing.
listen, when that doctor told me I needed to do this, I took her very, very, very serious. And I'm like, I didn't come down 45 pounds from last June to now to let stress put it back on me. Because, the first thing I wanted to do was go and get me some fried chicken, some macaroni and cheese, some collard greens, and banana pudding. That's what I wanted during this process. And I'll tell you what my therapist told me. She said, be careful trying to take the edge off of your stress right now. Be careful. Be careful. Don't even use the word that I gotta take the edge off. She says, if you feel like you gotta take the edge off, put life in you by taking the edge off of you.
Mm.
And because she said life is filled with edges. And if you use alcohol, drugs, food, sex, people to take the edge off of you, every time you're going to be addicted to one of these really bad things, because life is full of edges, very sharp edges. And you don't need to do that. So to take the edge off, go to the gym. To take the edge off, go take a walk. To take the edge off, have a salad. Don't go for the mac and cheese, fried chicken, and like I was like, I just want some fried chicken. And I haven't had that kind of stuff, Roz, in months. But I started like, oh my God, I just need some comfort food, something to bring comfort to me. No, get your butt up, go to the gym, go to the pool, take a walk, do something that's going to be bringing life to you versus taking life away from you while you're trying to deal with the edge, because the edge is here every day. And we just have to live through, how do we get to the other side of the edge? Because that means the edge is not going to stop coming. And she told me, she said, listen, her mom, her father, and her husband passed within 6 months. And I said, how did you do it? She said, you know what? When I felt myself feeling vulnerable, I went to the gym. She said, because the life is filled with edges. And if you use drugs, alcohol, food, or whatever just to solve the edge, when you are done, you wake up from being drunk or whatever, or doing drugs or taking something or overeating, the edge is still going to be there because you didn't solve the edge. You didn't deal with the edge. It's still going to be there. So, I took her advice and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to the pool because the pool helps me. But anyway, I love you so much to life. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to have you come back real soon and help us out a little bit.
Oh, anytime.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, we had my friend, Miss Roz Jones from Jacksonville's Best Caregiver. She's the CEO. And you can see she had a lot of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful knowledge of what we needed to do in order to be a good caregiver. And I have to be honest with you, this was a lot, really selfish. It was a little bit of, I needed to get this information, but I had no clue when I booked her on the show that 24 hours later, I was going to be walking into a situation where I was going to be caregiving full time. Well, that's all the time that we have for now. And until next week, remember, God loves you. I love you. But most importantly, learn to love yourself. Bye for now.
You've been watching Speak Out Loud, the story behind the brand with your host, Lynette Jackson. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And until next week, don't forget to use your voice to speak out loud.